Hello dear learners, myself Vipul Kumar D. Prajapati, Associate Professor and HOD Pharmaceutics, SSR College of Pharmacy, Silvassa. Welcome you all to this session 2 of Pharmaceutical Aerosols of Industrial Pharmacy 1 as a course. In this session 2, you all learn about components of pharmaceutical aerosols. The learning outcomes of this session. After this session 2, you will be able to understand about various components of pharmaceutical aerosols, define and describe propellants and their types for pharmaceutical aerosols, understand about types of valves of pharmaceutical aerosols, and understand about actuators of pharmaceutical aerosols. What are the different components of pharmaceutical aerosols? There are 5 different components. 1. Drug product concentrate. It is in the form of either solution, dispersed system means suspension or emulsion, foam type or dry powder type. Number 2. Propellants. It may be compressed gas, gas liquefied under pressure or low boiling liquids. Third component, container. It is made up of either metal or glass or plastic. Fourth component is known as valve. It may be metering valve or continuous spray valve. And the fifth component is known as actuator or button. This image is indicating various components of aerosol package. The first component is in pharmaceutical aerosols known as therapeutically active ingredients or drug product concentrates. Second component is propellant in the form of compressed gas or liquefied gas or solvent. Third component is container. The aerosol container itself is known as canister. Fourth component is known as valve. Fifth component is actuator. So first, drug product concentrates, also known as drug product formulations. It can be in the form of either solution, suspension or emulsion type pharmaceutical aerosols. Foams are produced when the product concentrate is dispersed throughout the propellant and the propellant is in the internal phase. That is, the emulsion behaves like oil in water emulsion. So drug product concentrate contains not only drug but other additives are also added to make the desired form of the product. Second component is propellant. What is the meaning of propellant? It is an engine of aerosols. Propel means to move or to expel. How it is defined? It is a chemical in the form of either a compressed or liquefied gas or a solvent means low boiling point liquids that are added in needful proportion to a suitable pharmaceutical aerosols as the heart of an aerosol package to provide an essential driving force. So propellant provide an essential driving force or energy or power means pressure higher than the atmospheric pressure at 40 degrees Celsius to expel the contents from an aerosol package through the utilized valve cap assembly. So propellant serves for the purpose of driving force to move the contents of pharmaceutical aerosol package out of the container. Propellants' desired characteristics in pharmaceutical aerosols: mostly non-toxic, non-irritating, and should be of high purity. Chemically, it should be stable under any conditions. Should exert a suitable range of vapor pressure. Should be compatible with the contents of aerosols package. It must be environmentally acceptable, economic, and non-flammable. What are the different types of propellants? There are two types. One, liquefied gas propellant, and second is known as compressed gas propellant. We discuss first liquefied gas propellant. They are actually gases at room temperature and atmospheric pressure. They can be liquefied easily by lowering the temperature or by increasing pressure. When they are placed into a sealed aerosol container, they immediately separates into a liquid and vapor phase that occupies the head space of the aerosol container. Whenever the package is activated, its liquefied part turns into gas and occupies the head space of container. In such a way, head space of container is always occupied by propellant gas to maintain pressure and performance of physical state of aerosols. They are relatively inert, non-toxic, and non-flammable. Widely used in pharmaceutical aerosols as they are capable of exerting product concentrate in the form of fine mist or spray or foam. So these are the desired physical state of pharmaceutical aerosols. Hence, liquefied gas propellants are widely used to get desired pressure systems in the aerosol package. So liquefied propellants and compressed gas are as shown in the figure. It serves as a function to deliver the pharmaceutical aerosol in the form of fine mist or spray or foam. There are four types of liquefied gas propellants. First, chlorofluorocarbons. It is denoted by symbol CFCS. Next, hydrochlorofluorocarbons. Third one, hydrofluorocarbons, and fourth one is hydrocarbons. In chlorofluorocarbons, the examples are: first one, trichloromonofluoromethane. The numerical designation of this propellant is propellant 11 or CFC 11. All propellants are having desired physicochemical properties such as boiling point, density, molecular weight, vapor pressure. All are required to be considered during the formulation in order to get desired form of pharmaceutical aerosols. Its solubility in water at definite temperature is also required to be considered during selection. Second example of chlorofluorocarbons is dichloro-difluoromethane. It is normally known as propellant 12. Third example, dichlorotetrafluoroethane. It is propellant 114. Where these types of propellants are used? They are used for oral and inhalation pharmaceutical aerosols formulation. Propellant 11 is subjected to hydrolysis and will form hydrochloric acid in presence of water, and the acid increases the corrosion of the container and may be irritating when applied to membranes. If water is present, propellant 12 or mixture of propellant 12 and propellant 114 are used to minimize these types of hydrolysis effect of propellant 11. The advantages and disadvantages of chlorofluorocarbons. It is also known as freon. First advantage, low toxic on inhalation. They are odorless, high chemical stability, they are having high purity. Chlorofluorocarbon 11 means propellant 11 is a good solvent. Disadvantages of C chlorofluorocarbons, they damages ozone layer. It is the most important disadvantage of chlorofluorocarbons, as the troposphere means the lower layer of the atmosphere is damaged by these chlorofluorocarbons, so greenhouse effect is damaged. Internal pressure decreases when applied. Next, they are expensive, so their greenhouse effect is significant, means warming the atmosphere of earth. So to minimize the warming of atmosphere of earth, we have to minimize the use of chlorofluorocarbons in order to maintain the troposphere layer of atmosphere of earth. The hence chlorofluorocarbons banned by many countries except their use in some essential medicines. Example, bronchodilators, ergotamine tartrate, and certain topical antibiotics sprays, as well as contraceptive vaginal forms. What is ozone depleting effects of chlorofluorocarbons? Chlorofluorocarbons exhibit detrimental effect on the Earth's ozone layer. Urgent measures introduced to protect the ozone layer resulted in a ban on the production and use of fully halogenated chlorofluorocarbons in the developed world with effect from January 1996. The only exemption was for essential uses. So chlorofluorocarbons are used for essential metered-dose inhaler preparations only. That are the type of pharmaceutical aerosols as per the requirement. But these essential chlorofluorocarbons are no longer deemed essential because there are now many alternatives or substitutes to chlorofluorocarbon containing metered-dose inhalers available. Germany has already banned chlorofluorocarbon metered-dose inhaler containing drugs of the following classes: short-acting beta sympathomimetic bronchodilators, example salbutamol, terbutaline, phenoterol, bitalterol, and procaterol as of January 2001. Inhaled steroids such as beclomethasone, dexamethasone, flunisolide, fluticasone, budesonide, and triamcinolone as of January 2003, and intends to ban chlorofluorocarbon metered-dose inhalers containing anticholinergic bronchodilators comprising ipratropium bromide and oxytropium bromide. Canada has followed the transition strategy for chlorofluorocarbon methadose inhalers containing salbutamol since January 2003. They are prohibited. Chlorofluorocarbon methadose inhalers containing corticosteroids since January 2003, forbidden. And prohibition of all methadose inhalers containing chlorofluorocarbons for production as well as import since January 2005 due to ozone depleting effects. Australia, Austria, Belgium, Denmark, Finland, France, Germany, the Netherlands, Portugal, and the United Kingdom formally determined that most of the short-acting beta agonist chlorofluorocarbon methadose inhalers are no longer essential. Ozone depleting effect of chlorofluorocarbons in Europe, more than 50% reduction in the total chlorofluorocarbon quantities used in methadose inhalers. When chlorofluorocarbons are substituted by hydrofluoroalkanes, the global warming potential is reduced by more than 75%. The total global warming contribution of hydrofluoroalkane methadose inhalers is less than 0.5% of the total greenhouse gas emissions. Hydrofluoroalkanes are being used as alternatives and have less of an effect on the environment. Chlorofluorocarbons are exempted for a very few class of aerosols, methadose inhalers, for oral or nasal steroidal drugs such as bronchodilators, ergotamine tartrate, certain topical antibiotic sprays, and contraceptive vaginal foams. In 2008, the Food and Drug Administration announced that inhalers containing or using chlorofluorocarbons as a propellant, such as Primatene Mist, could no longer be manufactured or sold as of 2011. So after discussion of chlorofluorocarbon and the next availability of hydrofluoroalkanes, it is required to understand as chlorofluorocarbons damage the ozone layers of the earth, hence its substitute hydrofluoroalkanes used. Hydrochlorofluorocarbons, this is the second example of liquefied gas propellants. Example under this class: dichloroethane, it is numerically designated as propellant 152A. Chlorodifluoroethane, known as propellant 142B. Chlorodifluoromethane, known as propellant 22. These are the example of hydrochlorofluorocarbons. Next, third type of liquefied gas propellants, hydrofluorocarbons, that is hydrofluoroalkanes. Tetrafluoroethane, numerical designation of this propellant is propellant 134A. Next one is heptafluoropropane, it is known as propellant 227. They are used in topical pharmaceutical aerosols formulations. Both type, that is hydrochlorofluorocarbons as well as hydrofluorocarbons, that differ from chlorofluorocarbons. They may not contain chlorine and have one or more hydrogen atoms. They break down in the atmosphere at a faster rate than the chlorofluorocarbons, resulting in a lower ozone depleting effect. So this is the main advantage. Now, hydrofluorocarbon or alkanes advantages. On inhalation, they are less toxic, not ozone depleting, they are highly chemical stable, they are having high purity. What are the disadvantages of hydrofluorocarbons or alkanes? First, bad solvents, they are expensive. Small greenhouse effect means less warming the earth atmosphere. Next type, hydrocarbons or liquefied petroleum gases. The example of hydrocarbons are propane, is also known as propellant A108. Next, butane, propellant A17, and isobutane, that is propellant A31. They are used for topical pharmaceutical aerosols formulation. They are flammable and can explode. They contains no halogen and hence hydrolysis does not occur. Means they are good for water-based aerosol formulations. They are preferred over chlorofluorocarbons in formulating topical pharmaceutical aerosols due to number of reasons. What are the number of reasons of hydrocarbons in topical pharmaceutical aerosols formulation? First is low toxic, chemically stable, wide range of solubility. They are cost effective, immiscible with water, hence used in three-phase aerosol system. Density less than water, hence helps in expelling contents from the container. Used in meter dose inhaler as well as topical aerosols if their flammability hazard is reduced. What are the advantages of hydrocarbons propellants? They are cheap, minimal ozone layer depleting or damaged. They are good solvent, normally having mixture 33% propane with 67% butane, and today 99% butane is used as extremely clean propellant. What are the disadvantages of hydrocarbon propellants? They are flammable, explosive, internal pressure decreases when applied, inhalation, their toxicity is unknown, they are odorous and low flux density. So these are the disadvantages of hydrocarbons as propellants in pharmaceutical aerosols. Next, second category of propellants, that is compressed gas propellants. What are the example of compressed gas propellants? First one is nitrogen, second nitrous oxide, and third is carbon dioxide. Compressed gas propellants help in dispensing products in the form of fine mist, foams or semi-solids, but due to low expansion ratio, produced spray are fairly wet and forms are not as stable as produced by liquefied propellants. What are the uses of compressed gas propellants? First, they are widely used in dispensing food and non-food products in their original form as semi-solid. They are used in dental creams, hair preparations, ointments and antiseptics. Nitrous oxide is mainly used to dispense whipped cream. They are widely used in saline solution as a cleanser for contact lenses and in barrier systems. What are the advantages and disadvantages of compressed gas propellants? First advantage is high purity, high chemical stability, inflammable, not environmental pollutants, less inhalation toxicity, and not costly. Only occupy the head space of aerosol package. What are the disadvantages of compressed gas as aerosol propellants? First, non-volatile co-solvents are required to be used. Pressure decreases during application. Expand less. Produce coarse droplet spray. And use is limited to applications where the type of spray is not critical. Example, dental creams, hairspray, germicide. So use of compressed gases are limited in these cases. So these are the disadvantages of compressed gas propellants. Third component of pharmaceutical aerosol package, that is container. The container of pharmaceutical aerosol must be able to withstand high pressures as high as possible in the range of 140 to 180 pound per square inch gauge at 130 degree Fahrenheit or about 54 degrees Celsius. The pharmaceutical aerosol containers are made up from metals. Example of metals, first is tin plated steel. Under tin plated steel there are side seam or 3-piece, 2-piece or drawn, and third is tin free steel. The second type of metallic aerosol containers are aluminum. They are of 2-piece or 1-piece. The third type of metallic containers are stainless steel. The second type of containers of pharmaceutical aerosols are of glass type. They may be plastic coated or uncoated glass. So corrosion problems are eliminated due to glass type of aerosol containers, and third types are known as plastic type aerosol containers. This image shows the various containers of pharmaceutical aerosols. First, metallic type container. Tin plated steel containers, most useful aerosol containers. Used for packing of non-aqueous product. They are light in weight and inexpensive. It consists of thin sheets of steel coated with a layer of tin on both sides. An additional organic coating of vinyl or epoxy resins is applied if products containing water or low pH value. Second type of metallic container, aluminum containers. They are seamless or extruded canister. Used in most of the metered-dose inhalers, pharmaceutical preparations, and many topical pharmaceutical aerosols. Creams and ointments are also dispensed in pressurized aluminum containers fitted with piston. Greater resistance to corrosion, that is the main property of aluminum container. Light in weight, not fragile. Good for light sensitive drugs, and they are produced by extrusion process to make them seamless, means single piece. Hence there are no joint. They have great safety against leakage, incompatibility and corrosion. Third type of metallic containers, stainless steel containers, limited for smaller size containers. Used in inhalation pharmaceutical aerosols owing to its high cost. Extremely strong and resistant to most of the materials and free from corrosions. that don't require any internal organic coating. So these are the few properties of stainless steel containers, but they are used in small size metered-dose inhaler purpose due to its high cost. Next type of containers are glass container. Glass is preferred when the total pressure of aerosol system is less than 25 pound square inch gauge. They are available with plastic or without plastic coating. They are used primarily for solution type aerosols, not used for suspension aerosols because visibility of the suspended particles creates an aesthetic problem. Hence, they are not used for suspension aerosols. Compatible with many additives. No corrosion problems. They can have various shape because of molding, but they are brittle or fragile. Hence, its use is limited. Not for light sensitive drugs. To increase resistance to breakage, plastic coatings are commonly applied to the outer surface of glass containers and used safely up to pressures of 33 pound square inch gauge. Plastic coated glass containers are available for different purposes. First, to prevent glass from shattering into fragments if broken, absorb shock from the crimping operation during production, hence decreasing the danger of breakage around neck. Protect the contents from ultraviolet light, and they acts as a means of identification since the coatings in various colors. So these are the few purposes of plastic coated glass container in pharmaceutical aerosols. In plastic container, this is the third type of aerosol container. Limited use due to inherent problem of being permitted with vapor. They are ready to permit vapors. Certain drug plastic interaction reduce the efficiency of the product and affect the efficiency of the release of drug from the container. Hence, plastic type of container very limited in pharmaceutical aerosols. The maximum tolerable pressure by different aerosol containers reported in different literatures are available in table form as the container type with maximum pressure in pound per square inch gauge and temperature in degree Fahrenheit. Tin plated steel maximum pressure 140 to 180 degree 140 to 180 pound per square inch gauge at 130 degree Fahrenheit, aluminum up to 180, stainless steel up to 180, uncoated glass, coated glass and plastic less than 18, 25 and 25 pound square inch gauge respectively. Fourth type of component of pharmaceutical aerosol container, that is valve. How it is defined? It is a flow control device of aerosol package, particularly designed to enlarge, decrease or close an opening in a mass transfer system of aerosols. So it is known as a flow control device of an aerosol package. What are the main functions of valve? To deliver the content in desired form means drug concentrate or product concentrate of pharmaceutical aerosol package is delivered in desired form, either in solution, spray, fine spray, mist, foam, cream, etc. To give proper amount of medication. To give proper amount of medication, that is known as metered valve. So quantity of medication is required to calculate, so it is available in metered valve type. Third, keeps the aerosol container tightly closed. So this is the main function of valve, keeps the aerosol container tightly closed when not in use and regulates the delivery of contents during the use. What are different types of valves? The first one is continuous spray valve, metering valve, this is second type, and third is foam type valve. First, continuous spray valve. It provides continuous release of the product after one actuation, used for dispensing of non-potent medication, that is for topical pharmaceutical aerosols preparations. So when non-potent medications requirement, these types of spray valve is used in pharmaceutical aerosol container. So this is the figure which indicate the type of continuous spray valve and the parts of continuous spray valve. Second type of valve is metering valve, used for dispensing of potent medication, means it is widely used in metered dose inhaler type devices. Deliver a defined quantity of aerosol product upon each actuation of valve. So after one press of valve, it delivered a defined quantity of aerosol product, approximately 50 to 150 milligram plus minus 10% of liquid medication at one time. This is the image showing metered dose inhaler containing metered valve. What is the principle behind metering valve? It operates on the principle of the chamber whose size determines the amount of medication dispensed. So chamber size is important. So it operates on the principle of the chamber whose size determines the amount of medication dispensed. Next, it helps in the accurate and precise delivery of a measured quantum of spray containing the medicament and hence frequently used for necessary pharmaceutical aerosols, namely metered dose inhalers. There are two types of metering valve. First one is two valves separated by metering chamber. It operates by upstrokes and downstrokes of the valve controls, and second type is known as metering valve or deep tube contains a steel ball. In detail about metering valve we will discuss if required in next session. The third type of valve is foam valve. They have only one orifice that leads to a single expansion chamber of appropriate volume to allow the product concentrate to expand into a ball of foam. The expansion chamber serves as the delivery nozzle or applicator. Foam valves use These types of valve used to dispense foam type pharmaceutical aerosols to rectal and vaginal route application. Now, reflection spot. It's a time to answer the question if you know. Pause the video, take your note and pen, write down the answer of this question. What are the parts of aerosol valve assembly? Think and write your answer. If you have completed your answer, play the video and verify the answer. What are the parts of aerosol valve assembly? As the image indicates, there are different parts of aerosol valve assembly. The first one is stem, second gasket, third spring, fourth one is mounting cup, fifth one housing, and sixth is deep tube. Actuator is also connected above the stem, but it is separate. The next figure indicates the valve components and in bracket various functions of that components. The gasket of mounting cup, it is the seal between valve and can. Stem, it controls the flow. Gasket of stem, the on off switch. Spring, it closes the valve, means it helps in closing and opening the valve. So not in use, it is closed. Valve body or housing encloses stem, gaskets and spring. Ferrule or mounting cup, they provide link between can and valve. And last, deep tube, it is helped to draw the product from the aerosol container to outside. So we are discussing all parts one by one. The first one is stem, second is gasket, third one is spring, fourth is known as mounting cup or ferrule, fifth one is known as housing or valve body, and the sixth component of valve assembly is deep tube. In stem, it is the movable segment of the valve, provides the opening mechanism to discharge the aerosol content in the required form to the chamber of the actuator and providing the needed support to the actuator. So below the actuator, stem is the first part of aerosol valve. The stem is made up of nylon or Dalrene, or it is also made up of from metals, that is soft metals, brass, and hard metal, that is stainless steel. The second, gasket, it is used to prevent the leakage of contents from the aerosol pack when the valve is closed. It is made up from Buna N and neoprene rubber. They are the most commonly used materials of gasket. Third, spring. It serves to hold the gasket in place, usually made up of stainless steel and utilized to ensure the solid closing action. The fourth, mounting cup or ferrule, it mechanically joins the container and valves. So aerosol container and valves are joined due to mounting cup or ferrule, and it contains the gasket that generates the seal. It is commonly found as aluminum coated or tin plated steel on the lower side of the container. It is made from aluminum or brass type soft metals. They are used with glass bottles or small aluminum tubes. The fifth is known as housing or valve body. It contains the metering orifices of both the vapor and liquid phases of the streaming, made from nylon or Dalrine. It links the deep tube, the stem and the actuator directly below the mounting cup. And last one is deep tube, made from polypropylene or polyethylene with a diameter of greater than 2.54 millimeter, usually extended from the housing and reaching down into the product available in the container, primarily used for reducing the flow rate of aerosol content. So deep tube is having that type of function. This image indicates the mounting cup or ferrule in different shape and colors. Now this image shows the valve assembly of aerosol package. Orifice insert, actuator, below this actuator, stem, gasket, valve cup, spring, valve housing. Now the next reflection spot. Pause the video and take your note and pen. Write down the answer of this question if you know. What is actuator in pharmaceutical aerosols? And list various types of actuators for pharmaceutical aerosols. Think and write the answer of this question. If you have completed the answering of this question, once again play the video and verify your answer. Actuator is also known as button, as this image indicating the actuator is the main external part of any pharmaceutical aerosol device. It activates the valve assembly for easy opening and closing of the valve. So its main function to activates the valve assembly for easy opening and closing of the valve to ensure that the aerosol product is delivered in the proper and desired form. So this is the main function of actuator, to ensure that the aerosol product is delivered in the proper and desired form. A specially designed actuator or button must be fitted to the valve system of aerosol package. It is pressed by the user to activate the valve and expel the content. Its design determines the delivered aerosol product in the proper and desired form, means spray or foam type emitted product. It is fitted on the valve stem and it is an integral part of aerosol, almost every aerosol package. What are different types of actuator or button? The first type is known as spray actuator, second foam actuator, third one is solid stream actuator, and last one is special use actuator. In the first, these all are the different images of different types of actuators with few contents. First is known as spray actuator, various opening 1 to 3 of definite size of orifice to deliver the spray in the desired particle size range. These types of actuator can be used for topical pharmaceutical aerosols such as spray on bandages, antiseptics, local anesthetics, and food preparations. When this actuator used with low amount of propellants, that is 50% or less propellants, the product is dispensed as stream rather than spray. For such type of product, a mechanical breakup actuator is required. So mechanical breakup actuator again break down the stream type dispensed product into a spray form product. The second type actuator is foam actuator. They are having large orifice structure, normally 0.070 inch to 0.125 inch and greater. They are used for topical pharmaceutical aerosols. The third type of actuators is solid stream or powder actuator. They are also having same as foam type of actuator, large opening structure. They are used for semi-solid pharmaceutical aerosols. So the orifice is larger than the foam type actuators. The fourth type of actuator is special actuator. They are used for medicinal aerosols and delivering the drug to nose, eye, throat and other routes. Hence they are known as special actuator. This image shows various actuators and applicators. First one is general purpose actuator. Second is known as actuator with nebulizing insert suitable for oral as well as otic applications. And this figure shows suitable for nasal use by adults and children with special nebulizing insert for correct spray pattern. Next one is angle tube incorporates a nebulizing insert suitable for oral applications and aerosol forms of pump. These are the different actuators and applicators. The clear image is available in the book, namely The Theory and Practice of Industrial Pharmacy, 4th edition, Lieberman and Lachmans, published by CBS Publishers and Distributors Private Limited. So inhalation purpose, liquids and foams, pharyngeal, nasal purpose and dental spray purpose, foam actuators, all these types of actuators are available as per the desired route of administration and desired physical form of the pharmaceutical aerosols. So this is the end of session 2. Thank you. Happy learning. If you have any questions in this session 2, submit it to my email ID. Thank you once again.